I've never been a fan of Far Cry games. I haven't even gotten into them yet. I've only played the Vietnam DLC for 5, and I think it's pretty good. I've saved all my allies because I could not live with myself if a friendly NPC dies. I've played a little bit of 5, and I could not get into it. All I can remember is that the character customization doesn't mean anything, and you kill a cult army of Jared Leto. The Far Cry movie is based on the first game. Well, loosely. I haven't played the first game, and I don't care much about it, but my dad played the first game before I was born, and I bet that made you feel old now, don't it? And he told me it's really hard, so I didn't bother playing it. What I needed to know was that it was made by Crytek, the same people who made Crysis. Man, a Crysis movie would go so hard, and they sold the Far Cry series to Ubisoft. The movie was made by this German man. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, but it's like Uwe Boll. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. And no one seems to like him anyway. Who has no business in making a movie, but he made it anyway. Now we have to live with it. I think the movie is the biggest piece of dog shit. I'm pretty sure the fans of the games would think the same thing. Look, I've seen Forrest Gump and Starship Troopers without reading the book, and they can stand on their own as great movies. The Far Cry movie can't do the same thing. I'm sure if the Far Cry games are great, but if you're trying to get into it, I would not recommend watching the movie. The only reason to watch this movie is if you're curious. Before I start recapping the movie, I just want to let you know that the site I watched this movie on does not offer subtitles. And if you know me, I can't hear without subtitles. For some of the characters' names or plot points may not be correct, so bear that in mind. The movie kicks off at night on an island. There is a convoy of mercenaries and they get attacked by a creature that we don't see. Now, this is a pretty good setup until you actually see what attacked them, which I'll show you later. We cut to Jack Carver, an ex-Special Army,
Special Forces,
who is now a boat captain and a Glenn Quagmire cosplayer, taking tours to go see your mom. From what I understand, from the game, Jack is American, but in the movie, they made him German. I guess the actor can't do an American accent. And in the game, takes place in the Caribbean, which makes sense to wear a Hawaiian shirt. But in the movie, it takes place in Vancouver. I think, I don't know, which is like the most depressing place to go on vacation. Anyway, the tourists bicker about not being able to see your mom, and Jack is angry. We cut to the island with Dr. Krieger and his goons, one of them being Craig Fairbanks, who played Gaz and Ghost in Modern Warfare. You know, the good ones. And they talk about information we already know. We cut to this guy named Max leaking secrets, and he gets caught by Chernov. I don't know if that's her actual name, so I'm gonna just call her Bad Lady from now on. We then cut to the journalist named Valerie, Max's niece, explaining that Island's doing some shady stuff. And her boss is like, "You're a woman, so shut up, you're wrong." Okay, I made that up. Because it's just boring stuff. She hires Jack to pretend to drive a boat to the island. We cut to this general guy going to Dr. Krieger's lab and taking a look at these gray men. These are the ones who attacked the mercs in the beginning of the movie. I guess these guys are supposed to be the Trojan mutants, but I guess they don't have it in their budget to actually make them look game accurate. But they just look so goofy. Anyways, the general shoots the gray man and it turns out to be bulletproof, besides its mouth and eyes. The general is upset because it turns out Dr. Krieger can't control them, and he's cutting their funding. Dr. Krieger decides to experiment on Max. We now cut to Jack and Valerie. It's nighttime now, by the way. Valerie decides to sneak onto the island to look for her uncle, while Jack waits for her at the boat. Valerie gets captured by Bad Lady and her goons. Jack's boat gets blown up, and he somehow survives this. I guess that's video game accurate, but in real life, Jack's lungs would have collapsed and would eventually die from the explosion. Jack gets onto the island and gets into a fight with some mercs. Okay, now for these scenes, it's so dark and there are too many jump cuts that it's hard to follow along what's happening. Like, you don't know if Jack's winning or losing, but he eventually wins the fight. Jack throws a rock like he's in sort of stealth game, and it works, and gets himself and Valerie in a car chase. This car chase is fine, I guess, but Valerie was acting such a dumb bitch in this scene. She has a box of grenades, and she throws them without pulling a pin. Anyone with half a brain would know that you must pull the pin off the grenade before throwing it. Alright, so anyways, everything works out fine. They find a cabin in the woods and they have
sex.
Even though Jack says he's been shot, it has no effect on him whatsoever. It's morning time now. Jack and Valerie are alive and well. And even though there's an island full of mercs, they didn't check that one cabin they might be hiding in. Oh well. Jack hides Valerie in a tarp and a couple of barrels so he could find a boat to escape in. Arnold Schwarzenegger's body double notices the barrels are acting odd through the camera. We're halfway done with the movie, finally, and we get introduced to this guy named Emilio, the food guy. Emilio is this fat guy who likes food, and that's his whole trait. Just like someone I know in real life. This guy makes his bad movie even worse. If this guy can get into a movie, then you can get in a movie as well. Jack saves Emilio from choking, and I guess Emilio is on his team now because he just goes along with what Jack says. Anyways, they get captured and Dr. Krieger talks to Valerie about something I don't remember. What? Krieger sends Max to kill Jack and Emilio, but Jack says, "Hey, I know you're still in there." BS. And they escaped unharmed. Well, except for the scientists and mercs in the crossfire, but we don't care about those guys. More of those gray men break out of their cells, and a massive fight breaks out between the gray men, the mercs, and the main leads. Max and that bad lady fight, and they both die. Jack meets up with Craig Fairbanks and his team, and they team up for some reason. Craig Fairbanks and his team die. Krieger gets left on the island with the gray men, and Jack and Valerie and Emilio escape off the island. Some time has passed, and Emilio works for Jack, and the same two tourists from the beginning also show up for some reason. And that's the end of the movie. That's a Far Cry movie, and my god, it is a slog to go through. If you're getting into the Far Cry series, I would not recommend watching this movie first. It's one of those movies if you're really curious. Alright, I'ma head out. See y'all later.